Part 1: The Collapse. The knock came at 3:17 in the morning. Leah Morrison's eyes snapped open in the darkness. After 35 years as an ICU nurse, her body still responded to emergencies with that familiar jolt of adrenaline. Even though she'd been retired for 2 years. At 3:17, the hour when the body's defenses were at their weakest. The hour when patients died. She lay still, listening. Another knock, more urgent. Then a thud against her front porch. Leah grabbed her robe and made her way downstairs of her Victorian home in Pinehaven, Oregon. Through the frosted glass of her front door, she could see a dark shape slumped against the railing. When she opened the door, Tommy Blake collapsed at her feet. The 28-year-old pharmacy delivery driver fell forward, and Leah caught him under the arms. Her training kicked in immediately. She eased him down onto the porch, fingers going straight to his neck to check for a pulse. Thready, irregular. His skin was clammy and pale in the porch light. His lips had a bluish tint. "Tommy," she said firmly, patting his cheek. "Tommy, can you hear me?" No response. His breathing was shallow and labored, maybe 6 breaths per minute. Leah's trained eyes swept over him, cataloging symptoms the way she'd done thousands of times in the ICU. Pinpoint pupils, respiratory depression, the classic presentation of opioid overdose. But that made no sense. Tommy Blake was a good kid. He was engaged to Sarah Henderson from the dental office. He volunteered at the community center teaching computer skills to seniors. He didn't use drugs. That's when she noticed the white paper pharmacy bag clutched in his hand, and the scatter of medication blister packs across her welcome mat. She pulled her phone from her robe pocket and dialed 911. "This is Leah Morrison at 247 Maple Street. I have an unresponsive male, approximately 28 years old, showing signs of opioid overdose. Pulse weak and thready, respiratory rate approximately 6 breaths per minute. I need an ambulance immediately and tell them to bring Narcan." "Ma'am, is the patient breathing?" "Yes, but barely. I'm a retired ICU nurse. We need paramedics now." While staying on the line, Leah bent down and picked up one of the blister packs scattered across her porch. The label read Dorothy Brennan. Lipitor 40 mg. Take 1 tablet daily. Dorothy Brennan. Leah's throat tightened. Dorothy had been her neighbor for 20 years. Before passing away 3 months ago. They'd said it was heart failure. Dorothy was 83, after all. Natural causes. But if Dorothy was dead, why was Tommy delivering her medication? She picked up another pack. Harold Johnson. Metoprolol 50 mg. Twice daily. Harold had died just last week. Leah had attended his funeral on Tuesday. A third pack Agnes Miller. Warfarin 5 mg. Daily. Agnes was still alive, in hospice care at Pinehaven Nursing Home. Leah had visited her just yesterday. And Agnes had been lucid, talking about her grandchildren. "Ma'am? Ma'am, are you still there?" Leah realized the operator was talking to her. "Yes, I'm here." "The ambulance?" 3 minutes out. "Can you see the patient's chest rising and falling?" Leah checked Tommy. His breathing had become even more shallow. "Barely. His respiratory rate is dropping." She made a decision. "I'm checking his pockets for Narcan. Many pharmacy workers carry it now." "Ma'am, I need you to stay with the patient." But Leah was already searching Tommy's jacket with practiced efficiency. In the inside pocket, her fingers closed around a familiar shape. A Narcan nasal spray. Thank God. She broke open the package, tilted Tommy's head back, and administered the spray into his left nostril, pressing the plunger firmly. "Narcan administered," she told the operator. "Nasal spray, full dose." For several agonizing seconds, nothing happened. Then Tommy gasped a huge, shuddering breath that made his whole body convulse. His eyes flew open, pupils still pinpoint but awareness flooding back. What? He choked out. Don't move, Leah commanded in her ICU voice. You've had some kind of overdose. The ambulance is almost here. Tommy's eyes were wild, confused. He tried to sit up. Stay down. You're in shock. The pills, Tommy gasped. The pills are wrong. I figured it out. They're all wrong. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing closer. What do you mean wrong? Leah demanded. The medication. We've been delivering the wrong. His eyes rolled back and he lost consciousness again. Though his breathing was steadier now. The ambulance screamed to a stop in front of her house. 2 paramedics rushed up her walk. Leah recognized them both: Brad Wilson and Jennifer Blake, Tommy's older sister. Oh my God, Jennifer breathed when she saw her brother. Tommy, I've already administered Narcan, Leah said crisply. Nasal spray, 1 full dose, approximately 2 minutes ago. He was unresponsive with pinpoint pupils and respiratory depression. He regained consciousness briefly but is unresponsive again. Pulse is stronger, breathing improved to approximately 10 breaths per minute. Brad was already getting vitals while Jennifer set up oxygen. What happened? Brad asked. Tommy doesn't use drugs. I don't think this was recreational. Leah said, holding up one of the blister packs. He came here to tell me something about medications being wrong. They loaded Tommy onto a gurney. Jennifer climbed into the back of the ambulance while Brad closed the doors. We're taking him to Pinehaven Memorial, Brad called to Leah. I'll follow in my car, Leah said. I need to grab something first. As the ambulance pulled away, Leah bent down and carefully gathered all the scattered medication blister packs. 17 of them, each one labeled with a name she recognized. Each one a person who had either died recently or was currently in declining health. She went inside, found a large Ziploc bag, and secured all the medications. Then she dressed quickly and grabbed her purse, her phone, and the bag of medications. Before she left, she took a photo of each blister pack, documenting everything. Because Tommy had said the pills were wrong. And because Leah had been a nurse long enough to know that. When a healthy 28-year-old collapses with an opioid overdose. After talking about wrong medications, it wasn't coincidence. It was a pattern. And patterns in medicine were everything. Pinehaven Memorial Hospital was small, only 60 beds but well run. Leah had worked here for 15 years before transferring to the larger trauma center in Portland. For the last 20 years of her career, she still knew many of the nurses. When she walked into the emergency department at 4 in the morning, Nurse Kelly Davis looked up and immediately waved her through. He's in Bay 3. Dr. Patterson is with him. Leah pushed through the double doors. Tommy was in bed, now. Conscious and sitting up slightly, oxygen cannula in his nose. Jennifer stood beside him, holding his hand. Dr. Raymond Patterson, the ed physician, was reviewing something on a tablet. Leah, Dr. Patterson said when he saw her. He was in his early 50s, competent and thorough. Jennifer tells me you saved Tommy's life. The Narcan saved his life. I just administered it. How is he? Stable now. Running a full tox screen, but it's clearly an opioid exposure. Tommy swears he hasn't taken anything. I haven't, Tommy said hoarsely. His color was better, though he still looked shaken. I don't even take Tylenol unless I absolutely have to. Leah pulled up a chair. Tommy, what did you mean when you said the pills were wrong? Tommy glanced at Dr. Patterson. Then back at Leah. I've been working for Riverside Pharmacy for 2 years. Night shift deliveries, mostly to elderly patients who can't pick up their meds during the day. About 6 months ago, the pharmacy got bought out by a bigger chain, Med Supply Corporation. They kept the Riverside name but changed a lot of systems. He paused, reaching for water. Jennifer helped him take a sip. About 3 months ago, I started noticing something weird. Some of the medications I was delivering didn't look right. The pills looked different than they used to. Different colors, different shapes. I asked my supervisor, and he said they'd switched to generic suppliers to save money. He said it was normal for generics to look different. That is normal, Dr. Patterson said. I know. That's what I thought too. But then Mrs. Brennan died. Leah leaned forward. Dorothy Brennan? Yeah, I'd been delivering to her for over a year. She was really nice, always had cookies and wanted to chat. When I heard she died, I felt bad, but she was 83, so. He shrugged helplessly. Then Mr. Johnson died. Then Mrs. Patterson. No relation, he added, glancing at the doctor. Then Mr. Thompson. All within 3 months. All on my delivery route. Pinehaven has an aging population, Dr. Patterson said carefully. Elderly deaths aren't unusual. I know. But it bothered me. So tonight, I did something I probably shouldn't have. I looked at the delivery logs. And compared them to obituaries from the Pinehaven Gazette. The room went quiet. In the past 3 months, Tommy continued. 17 people on my delivery route have either died or gone into rapid health decline requiring hospice care. 17. In a town of 8,000 people. All of them over 65. All of them receiving regular medication deliveries from Riverside Pharmacy. That does seem high, Leah said slowly. It's more than high. I looked up the normal death rate for Pinehaven online. We should average about 6 elderly deaths per month in the whole town. We've had 17 in 3 months, and that's just the people on my route. Dr. Patterson was frowning now. Tommy, are you suggesting? I'm suggesting the medications are wrong. Tonight, I had a bunch of deliveries going to the nursing home. I got suspicious, so I opened a few of the blister packs to look at the pills. They weren't right. The colors were off, the shapes were wrong. So I looked up what the pills were supposed to look like on my phone. And they definitely didn't match. He met Leah's eyes. That's when I realized I might have been delivering drugs that were killing people. I freaked out. I didn't know who to trust, my supervisor? The pharmacy owner? The police? So I thought of you, Ms. Morrison. You're a nurse. You'd know what to do. Why me specifically? Leah asked. Because you came to the community center last month. And gave that talk on medication safety for seniors. You said if anyone ever had concerns about their medications, they should trust their instincts and get a second opinion. Leah remembered. She'd been volunteering, trying to stay busy in retirement. So I grabbed all the medications I had left to deliver and drove to your house, Tommy continued. But on the way, I started feeling weird. Dizzy. My hands were tingling. I thought maybe I was just panicking, but it got worse. I barely made it to your porch. Dr. Patterson was typing on his tablet. You said you opened blister packs and touched the pills. Fentanyl can be absorbed through the skin in sufficient quantities. If someone coated pills with it, or if there was cross-contamination. But why would there be fentanyl? On prescription medications? Jennifer demanded. No one had an answer. Leah pulled out her phone and showed the photos she'd taken. These are what Tommy brought to my house. All people who've either died recently or are in hospice. Dr. Patterson, can you look at these and tell me if anything seems off? Dr. Patterson took her phone and scrolled through the images. Lipitor, metoprolol, warfarin, lisinopril. These are all common medications for elderly patients. The dosages look appropriate. The labels are properly formatted. But Tommy said the actual pills didn't match. I can't verify that from photos of labels. I'd need to see the actual pills. I have them. They're in my car. Dr. Patterson's eyebrows rose. You took them? Is it a crime scene? Leah countered. Or is it just a sick delivery driver and some medications? If Tommy is right, and these medications are responsible for 17 deaths, then yes. It could be a crime scene. Then we should verify his claims before we call the police. Because if we're wrong, we've just destroyed the reputation of a local pharmacy. If we're right, we need solid evidence. Dr. Patterson considered this. Bring them in. I'll photograph and document everything, then look up each pill. If they don't match what they're supposed to be, we call the police immediately. Leah nodded and headed to her car. When she returned with the Ziploc bag, drive. Patterson had cleared space at the nurse's station. With gloved hands, he carefully opened the first pack. Dorothy Brennan. Lipitor 40 milligrams. He shook one pill onto a white surface and took a high-resolution photo. Then he pulled up a pharmaceutical database and typed in the information. The database showed what Lipitor 40 milligrams should look like. An oblong white tablet with PD 155 inches imprinted on one side. The pill from Dorothy's pack was round and pale yellow. That's not Lipitor, drive. Patterson said quietly. He used a pill identifier tool and entered the characteristics of the actual pill: round, yellow, no imprint. The database returned several possibilities. Dr. Patterson clicked through them. This is alprazolam, he said finally. Xanax. A benzodiazepine. Why would someone replace Lipitor with Xanax? Jennifer asked. I don't know. But if Dorothy Brennan was taking this thinking it was her cholesterol medication, it could have caused serious problems. Benzodiazepines in elderly patients can cause confusion. Falls, respiratory depression. She died of heart failure, Leah said. At least, that's what the death certificate said. If she wasn't actually taking her cholesterol medication, her heart disease could have accelerated, drive. Patterson said. Let's check another one. Harold Johnson. Metoprolol 50 milligrams. A beta blocker for blood pressure. The pill in the pack was small and white, round with a score line. The database showed metoprolol should be oval and pale pink. Another wrong pill. They went through all 17 blister packs. Every single one contained pills that didn't match the label. Agnes Miller's warfarin, a blood thinner requiring precise dosing, had been replaced with what appeared to be a vitamin supplement. George Williams's blood pressure medication had been swapped for a diuretic at 3 times the normal dose. Martha Thompson's thyroid medication had been replaced with pseudoephedrine, a decongestant that could dangerously elevate heart rate and blood pressure. This is systematic, drive. Patterson said, his voice shaking. This isn't random error. Someone deliberately switched these medications. But why? Jennifer asked. Leah stared at the 17 blister packs spread across the counter. Money. It's always money. These are all expensive brand name medications. If someone is billing insurance for the expensive drugs, but actually dispensing cheap alternatives, they're pocketing the difference, drive. Patterson finished. Insurance pays for Lipitor at, what, $100 a prescription? But if you're actually dispensing generic Xanax at $10, that's $90 profit per prescription. Multiply that by hundreds of patients. That's fraud, Jennifer said. That's insurance fraud and murder. Negligent homicide at minimum, Dr. Patterson said. He pulled out his phone. I'm calling the police. Wait, Leah said. Who runs Riverside Pharmacy now? Tommy spoke up weakly. The new owner is some corporation from Portland. But the pharmacist who actually fills the prescriptions is Dr. Richard Coleman. He's been in Pinehaven for like 20 years. Everyone trusts him. He sits on the hospital board. He's also my brother-in-law, Dr. Patterson said, his voice hollow. The room went silent. Dr. Patterson walked out. Phone pressed to his ear. Leah looked at Tommy. Did you ever see Dr. Coleman actually switching medications? No, I'm just the delivery guy. I never see what happens in the pharmacy itself. But he's the one who personally handles a lot of the elderly patients' prescriptions. He knows them all by name, remembers their conditions. Everyone loves him. The perfect cover, Leah murmured. Chief Daniel Harper arrived at 5:30, just as the sun was rising. He was 62, built like a linebacker, with iron-gray hair and sharp eyes. He'd been Pinehaven's police chief for 15 years, and before that, a detective in Seattle. Leah, he greeted her. Dr. Patterson gave me a briefing. This is one hell of a situation. Did you bring in Dr. Coleman? Leah asked. He's not at home. His wife says he left for a medical conference in Seattle yesterday. And won't be back until tomorrow. We're trying to reach him. Harper's expression was troubled. In the meantime, we've secured Riverside Pharmacy. What about the patients? Jennifer asked. If their medications are wrong, they need to know. We're working on a contact list. But we can't call 500 people and tell them their medications might be killing them without solid proof. We need to verify this systematically. He turned to Leah. Dr. Patterson says, you have medical background. And you've already started analyzing these prescriptions. I'm deputizing you as a consultant to the Pinehaven Police Department. You'll have access to the pharmacy records. And can help us identify which prescriptions are compromised. Leah took the clipboard and signed her name. After 2 years of retirement, of feeling useless, this was exactly what she needed. I'm willing, she said. Before we continue with Leah's investigation, if you're finding this story gripping, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps more people discover these stories. Now, let's dive deeper into this deadly conspiracy. Part 2: The Investigation. Riverside Pharmacy occupied a converted Victorian house on Main Street, painted cheerful blue with white trim. At 7 in the morning, Leah arrived with Chief Harper and Detective Sarah Martinez, a sharp young woman recently transferred from Portland. Crime scene tape stretched across the entrance. Inside, the retail space looked normal: shelves of medications, first aid supplies, greeting cards. Behind the counter was the dispensing area, where pharmacists filled prescriptions. Where would medications be switched? Leah asked. That's what we need to figure out, Detective Martinez said, photographing everything. They moved behind the counter. Pill counting trays, stock medication bottles, computer screens all appeared professional and legitimate. How many people work here? Leah asked. Harper consulted his notes. 5. Dr. Richard Coleman, the pharmacist owner. 2 pharmacy technicians, Amy Wilson and Kevin Taylor. 2 delivery drivers, Tommy Blake Knights and Patricia Stevens Days. They walked through the dispensing area slowly. Then Leah saw it. This door. She pointed to a door at the back. Where does it go? Storage, according to the layout, Martinez said. Harper tried several keys. The third worked. The door opened to a windowless room about 10 by 12 feet, full of medications, not organized stock bottles. These were loose pills sorted into clear plastic bins by color and shape. Hundreds of thousands of pills. Some bins were labeled with pharmaceutical codes. Others had no labels. This isn't normal pharmacy stock, Leah said. This is a sorting operation. Martinez photographed everything. If you wanted to switch medications, this is where you'd do it. Leah picked up a labeled bin. Alprazolam 1 mg. She compared it to the pill from Dorothy Brennan's pack. Same round yellow shape. Another bin, hydrochlorothiazide 25 mg. A diuretic matching what had been substituted for George Williams's blood pressure medication. They're taking expensive prescriptions and substituting cheaper alternatives, Leah said. Billing insurance for expensive drugs but dispensing these. But this volume, Harper gestured to the bins. This is way more than needed for one small pharmacy. Martinez examined a shelf at the back. Look at this. She held up a paper ledger. Shipment records. Leah flipped through it. Entries went back 6 months. Incoming shipments from pharmaceutical suppliers looked normal. But outgoing shipments were concerning. Large quantities going to other pharmacies in Oregon, Washington, California. All part of Med Supply Corporation network. This isn't just Pinehaven, Leah said slowly. This is a distribution hub. They're using Riverside to switch medications for pharmacies. Across multiple states. Harper swore. The death toll could be hundreds. After documenting everything, they left forensics to process the scene. Harper turned to Leah. I want you to visit surviving patients. The ones still taking these wrong medications. They need to know, and you can assess their health status. I'll need an officer with me, Leah said. Take Officer Davis. I want someone armed nearby, just in case. They started at Pinehaven Nursing Home with Agnes Miller. Nurse Rebecca Hayes met them at the desk. Leah, what brings you here? We need to check Agnes's medications. There may have been an issue with prescriptions from Riverside Pharmacy. They went to the medication room where residents' pills were sorted. Agnes Miller's morning dose contained 4 pills. Leah photographed them and compared to prescription records. Agnes should be taking warfarin 5 mg for blood thinning, lisinopril 10 mg for blood pressure, atorvastatin 20 mg for cholesterol, vitamin D3, 1000 IU. But the pills didn't match. Wrong colors, wrong shapes. Rebecca, have you noticed changes in Agnes's condition recently? Rebecca thought. She's been more confused. And she fell, last month, unusual for her. Oh, and her INR has been unstable. INR, the blood test monitoring warfarin. If Agnes's warfarin was replaced, her INR would be unstable. Get a CT scan. As soon as possible. And stop these medications until we verify what they actually are. Rebecca's face paled. Are you saying Agnes has been taking wrong drugs? Yes. She needs full medical evaluation immediately. They visited 6 more patients that morning. Every single one had wrong medications. Every single one showed symptoms of not getting prescribed drugs. Are getting dangerous substitutes. Martin Fletcher, 78, diabetic. His insulin replaced with saline. Blood sugar dangerously high. Patricia Anderson, 72, hypertensive. Blood pressure medication swapped for excessive diuretic. Dehydration, dizziness, electrolyte problems. James and Carol Davidson, both with heart conditions. Cardiac medications replaced with aspirin. Both experiencing chest pain they'd attributed to aging. By noon, Leah had documented 12 cases. 12 people whose health was deliberately compromised. And 17 who had died. She sat in Officer Davis's patrol car, hands shaking. Davis handed her water. Are you okay, Ms. Morrison? I knew these people, Leah said quietly. Dorothy made the best cookies. Harold fixed my fence last summer. These weren't just patients. They were my neighbors. Before Davis could respond, the radio crackled. All units, be advised. Suspicious activity at 247 Maple Street. Possible break-in. Leah's blood ran cold. That's my house. They made it in 4 minutes. 2 patrol cars were already there, officers with weapons drawn. Chief Harper strode over. Your neighbor reported seeing someone climbing in your back window. 15 minutes ago. Officers entered through the unlocked front door. The house was quiet until they checked Leah's bedroom. Ransacked. Drawers pulled out, clothes everywhere, mattress slashed. Desk torn apart. But the most chilling detail was on her mirror. Written in red lipstick, large block letters. Stop asking questions. Leah stared at the message, heart-hammering. Someone knew she was investigating. Harper was calling forensics. Leah, pack a bag. You're not staying here. I'm not leaving my home. This isn't a request. You're a material witness. You've identified evidence of multiple homicides. Whoever's behind this has millions at stake. They won't hesitate to kill you. He was right. Where would I go? Safe house. Hotel in Salem, an hour away, outside Pinehaven. Officer Davis stays with you. I need to keep investigating. You can work remotely. We'll bring everything you need. But you're not staying where someone can get to you. As she packed, she noticed something. The intruders had gone through everything but hadn't taken valuables. Her laptop was still there. Her jewelry untouched. Even cash remained. They'd been looking for something specific. The medications, the evidence, but those were already logged at the police station. So they were looking for something else. Something Leah might have found. She thought about the ledger at the pharmacy, showing distribution to other pharmacies. That would implicate dozens. If there were other records. Harper was waiting. We're taking you to Salem. You'll be registered under a different name. As they drove out of Pinehaven, Leah watched familiar streets pass. Her town, her home, now a crime scene. But Leah Morrison hadn't survived 35 years in intensive care by giving up. She'd saved lives by being thorough, asking questions, trusting instincts. She was going to do it again. Because 17 people were dead. Dozens more at risk. And somewhere, the people responsible were counting on her to stop asking questions. They were going to be disappointed. If you're on the edge of your seat, please show your support with a like and subscribe. Now, let's find out what Leah discovers next. Part 3: The Conspiracy. The hotel in Salem was anonymous, a 3-story building off Highway 22. Leah registered as Elizabeth Clark, with a room overlooking the parking lot. Officer Davis took the connecting room. Chief Harper delivered 3 boxes of photocopied pharmacy records. This is everything we pulled before the computer system mysteriously crashed this afternoon. Crashed or wiped? Our IT specialist thinks someone accessed it remotely and deleted files. These paper copies might be all we have. After Harper left, Leah spread records across her bed. Records covered 6 months, May through October. Thousands of entries listing patient name, medication, dosage, prescriber, insurance billing. Leah created a spreadsheet of every patient over 65 who received medications from Riverside. The list was staggering: 342 elderly patients. Then she cross-referenced with obituaries and death records Detective Martinez had provided. In those 6 months, 43 elderly patients had died. 43. Normal death rate for Pinehaven should be about 36 deaths over 6 months. 7 excess deaths. In a small town, that was significant. She analyzed medication types for the deceased. Nearly all had been taking expensive brand-name medications. Leah pulled up pharmaceutical pricing and calculated. Dorothy Brennan's Lipitor $120 month. Substituted alprazolam $8 month. Profit $112 per patient per month. Harold Johnson's metoprolol $85 month. Substitute $6 month. Profit $79 per patient per month. She worked through the night. By 3 a.m., she'd calculated potential profit. If someone systematically substituted medications for all 342 elderly patients over 6 months, profit would be approximately $1.4 million. For one small pharmacy. The ledger at Riverside showed this happening at pharmacies across multiple states. If Med Supply Corporation operated 50 pharmacies running the same scheme, $70 million profit annually. Enough money to kill for. Leah was about to close her laptop when she noticed something. A name appearing repeatedly as prescribing physician for patients who'd died. Dr. Michael Stevens. She knew him. General practitioner in Pinehaven, well-respected, 30 years in practice. Handled most elderly patients. Leah pulled up Dr. Stevens' prescription history. In 6 months, he'd prescribed for 287 of the 342 elderly patients. When she cross-referenced his prescriptions with deaths, of 43 patients who died, 39 had Dr. Stevens as their physician. That was 90% correlation. Either Dr. Stevens was spectacularly unlucky, or he was involved. She looked up his business registrations. There it was. Dr. Michael Stevens was listed as minority stakeholder in Med Supply Corporation. He owned 8%. Perfect closed loop. Dr. Stevens prescribed expensive medications. Prescriptions went to Riverside Pharmacy, owned by Med Supply. Pharmacy billed insurance but substituted cheaper drugs. Profit went to Med Supply including Dr. Stevens's 8% share. And patients died. She called Harper at 6 a.m. Harper answered immediately. Ms. Morrison, tell me you have something. I have answers. They're worse than we thought. She explained her findings of excess deaths, profit calculations. Dr. Stevens's ownership stake. Harper was quiet. Dr. Stevens, half the town sees him as their doctor. Which means we need to warn his current patients immediately. That could be hundreds. I have a list. But Chief, if Dr. Stevens and Dr. Coleman are involved. Who else? How many people in Pinehaven are part of this? I don't know, but we're going to find out. Detective Martinez arrived 2 hours later. She reviewed the spreadsheet. This is solid work, Martinez said. This gives us probable cause to bring Dr. Stevens in. But there's a problem. What problem? Dr. Stevens is on the hospital board. Personal friends with the mayor and city council. If we arrest him without ironclad evidence, we'll have Pinehaven's power structure against us. You have the records, the substitutions, the ownership stake, which a lawyer will claim is circumstantial. We need direct evidence. Someone who can testify that Dr. Stevens knew about the switches. The pharmacy technicians, Leah said. Amy Wilson and Kevin Taylor. They must have seen something. We interviewed them. Both claim they had no idea. They say Dr. Coleman handled most prescription filling personally. What about the home care agency? Tommy said he delivered to patients with home care nurses. Those nurses would have been giving wrong medications. They might have noticed. Martinez pulled out her notebook. The agency is a Comfort Home Services, main provider for elderly patients needing in-home support. Let me make calls. While Martinez worked her phone, Leah continued analyzing data. She pulled up deceased patients' medical histories. Something bothered her. A pattern within the pattern. Patients who died weren't just elderly. They were specifically isolated. Widows and widowers living alone. Patients whose families lived out of town. People relying on home care or pharmacy delivery. Most vulnerable people in Pinehaven. Ones with no one checking medications, no one advocating. Perfect victims. Detective Martinez finished calls. I spoke to Comfort Home Services director. She's willing to talk but not at their office. She sounded scared. When? This afternoon. There's a diner in Monmouth, 20 minutes from here. 2 o'clock. I'm coming. Martinez hesitated. Chief Harper wanted you at the hotel. Detective, I understand the medical side. I can ask questions you might not think to ask. And whoever broke into my house thinks they scared me. Let them think that. But I'm not stopping. Martinez studied her, then nodded. Okay. But Davis comes with us, and you do exactly what I say if there's trouble. At 1:45, they left the hotel. Davis drove with Leah in back. Martinez followed in her unmarked sedan. The diner was Maggie's Place, classic chrome and vinyl. Unchanged since the 80s, mostly empty between lunch and dinner. A woman in her mid-50s sat in a corner booth, nursing coffee. She wore scrubs under a cardigan and looked exhausted. She waved them over. I'm Linda Foster. I run Comfort Home Services. You said this was about Riverside Pharmacy? Thank you for meeting us, Martinez said. We're investigating medication irregularities. Your agency provides in-home care for elderly patients? Linda nodded. About 60 clients. Most over 70, living alone or with minimal family. We provide everything from companionship to full nursing care. How many get medications from Riverside? Leah asked. Almost all. It's the only pharmacy in town with free delivery. Have you noticed medication problems in the past 6 months? Martinez asked. Linda's hands tightened around her mug. Why are you asking? Because we have evidence that medications have been systematically substituted at Riverside. Leah said gently. Wrong drugs delivered. Some patients have died. Linda's face went pale. Oh my God. Linda, did you notice anything? Leah pressed. I thought I was imagining things. Some caregivers mentioned clients declining faster than expected. Confusion, falls, symptoms that didn't make sense. Did you report it? Report to who? Their doctors? Linda laughed bitterly. Most see Dr. Stevens. When I mentioned concerns at a meeting, he said I was worrying too much. When was that? About 3 months ago. August. 3 months ago. Right when deaths spiked. What happened after you raised concerns? Martinez asked. Nothing at first. Then, 2 weeks later, Med Supply Corporation called. They offered to pay Comfort Home Services a referral fee for every patient we steered to Riverside. Leah and Martinez exchanged glances. How much? $20 per patient per month. For 60 patients, that's $14,000 a year. Did you accept? No. It felt wrong. But after I declined, things got weird. Weird how? 2 of my best caregivers quit. Both said they got better offers in Salem. Then insurance problems, claims denied, payments delayed. Small things, but enough to create pressure. Did you connect it to the Med Supply offer? Not at first. But then my caregiver Maria Garcia came to me in tears. She said a man approached her at the grocery store and told her Comfort Home was going out of business. But if Maria wanted to keep her job, she should apply to a new agency in Pinehaven. A new agency? Leah said. Owned by Med Supply? Linda nodded. Riverside Home Care. They opened last month, offering higher wages than I can afford. I've lost 5 more caregivers to them. So Med Supply is trying to force you out, Martinez said. Why? Control, Leah said. If they control both pharmacy and home care workers, they control every aspect of medication management. No one independent to notice when medications are wrong. Linda was shaking. Are you saying my clients died because of medication switches? And Med Supply tried to make me part of it? Yes, Leah said. And when you refused, they tried to destroy your business. I need names of caregivers who went to Riverside Home Care, Martinez said. Linda rattled off 5 names. Martinez wrote them down. One more question, Leah said. Did any caregivers report seeing medications that didn't look right? Linda thought. Maria Garcia mentioned something. She said one of her patients, Mrs. Brennan, had pills that looked different. But Mrs. Brennan said the pharmacy switched to generics. Dorothy Brennan, one of the first deaths. Is Maria still with you? Yes. She's working today. She's at the Miller residence. Agnes Miller, the patient Leah visited at the nursing home. But Agnes was in the nursing home. Why would she need home care? Agnes Miller is in Pinehaven Nursing Home, Leah said. Why does she have home care? Linda frowned. Agnes was discharged 2 weeks ago. Family wanted her home. Maria provides overnight care. Agnes was discharged? Alarm bells rang in Leah's mind. I visited her at the nursing home 3 days ago. That's impossible. She's been home 2 weeks. Leah pulled out her phone, found the photo of Agnes's medications from the nursing home. Timestamp showed 3 days ago. But Linda said Agnes hadn't been there for 2 weeks. So who had Leah visited? Or had someone staged a fake patient to mislead her? We need to go to Agnes Miller's house, Leah said. Right now. Martinez was already standing. Davis, call for backup. Linda, give us the address. Linda pulled it up. 1425 Birch Road, North Side. They left at a run. The tension is building. If you're hooked on this story, please take a second to like and subscribe. Now, let's see what Leah finds at the Miller house. Part 4: The Reckoning. The drive back to Pinehaven took 15 minutes with lights and sirens. Martinez coordinated on radio with Chief Harper, calling for units at the Miller house. Agnes Miller's home was a small craftsman on a quiet street, lined with oak trees. A silver Honda sat in the driveway, Maria Garcia's car. Everything looked peaceful, but Leah's instincts screamed something was wrong. They parked down the street, waiting for backup. 2 patrol cars arrived within minutes. Chief Harper pulled up. "What's the situation?" "Unknown," Martinez said. "But the caregiver inside, Maria Garcia, may be in danger. She's a potential witness." Harper nodded. "Standard wellness check." "Martinez, Davis, you're with me." "I'm coming," Leah said. "Absolutely not. Chief, I'm the only one who knows what medications Agnes should be taking. If Maria or Agnes are in medical distress, you need me." Harper didn't like it but nodded. "Stay behind us." They approached in formation. Harper knocked. "Ms. Garcia? Pinehaven Police. We need to speak with you." No answer. Harper tried the doorknob. Locked. He knocked louder. "Police. Open the door." "Nothing. We're going in. Possible medical emergency." Davis used a door ram. The lock broke and the door swung open. They entered cautiously, clearing each room. The small house didn't take long. Empty. But in Agnes Miller's bedroom, they found something that froze Leah's blood. Agnes was in bed, pale and still. Blue tint to her lips. No chest movement. Leah rushed forward, checking pulse. Nothing. She's dead. On the nightstand was a pill organizer. Next to it, an empty blister pack. Leah photographed everything, then opened the pill organizer. Wrong pills. All of them. Alprazolam, hydrochlorothiazide, various medications. With no business in Agnes's regimen. "Chief," Martinez called from the kitchen. They found Martinez at the table, looking at a piece of paper. A note, handwritten in shaky script. "I can't do this anymore. I've been giving Agnes the wrong medications for months and I didn't know. Now she's dead because of me. I'm so sorry. Maria Garcia." "Suicide note," Davis breathed. "It's a setup," Leah said flatly. "Maria didn't write this." "How do you know?" Harper asked. "Because Maria is trained. She'd know you don't apologize for killing someone, then leave the body without calling 911. And look at the handwriting, it's shaky, like someone wrote it with their wrong hand to disguise it." Martinez was photographing. "Where is Maria Garcia?" That was the question. Harper got on radio. "All units, missing persons. Maria Garcia, 32-year-old female, Hispanic. Approximately 5'4". Last seen wearing green scrubs. Vehicle still at scene. Consider her potential victim or witness in homicide." "Chief," an officer called from outside. "We found something." They went to the backyard. The officer pointed down. Drag marks in the grass, leading from back door to fence. On the other side was an alley. "Someone took her out the back," Harper said. "How long has Agnes been dead?" Martinez asked Leah. Leah assessed body temperature. "Less than 2 hours. Probably died around noon." Linda Foster said Maria was working a day shift. So she'd be here when Agnes died or was killed. And someone made it look like Maria gave Agnes a fatal dose. "And fled," Leah said. "But Maria didn't flee. She was taken. Why not kill her and make it look like suicide?" Davis asked. "Because they need her alive," Leah said. "If Maria turns up dead, we'll investigate. We'll find evidence that the note's fake. But if Maria disappears, it looks like she fled out of guilt. Without Maria's testimony, we can't prove she didn't write the note." "So where is she?" Harper demanded. Leah's phone buzzed. Text from unknown number. "Stop investigating or Maria Garcia dies. You have 24 hours to back off." Leah showed Harper. "Trace that number," he ordered Martinez. Martinez was already on it, but Leah knew it would lead nowhere. Burner phone. They have Maria, Leah said. Using her as leverage. We don't negotiate, Harper said. And we don't stop a murder investigation. These people have killed 17 that we know of. If they think Maria can testify, she's dead the moment we back off. Our only chance to save her is to find her fast. He was right. We need to find Dr. Coleman and Dr. Stevens, Leah said. They're at the center. One of them knows where Maria is. Dr. Coleman is still unreachable, Martinez said. Phone's off, not at the Seattle conference. We've issued a bolo for his vehicle. What about Dr. Stevens? He's at his medical practice. We've had an officer watching him since this morning. He doesn't know we're onto him. Leah's mind raced. If Dr. Stevens thinks the investigation is focused on Dr. Coleman, he might feel safe. We could use that. What are you suggesting? Harper asked. Let me talk to him. I'm just a concerned citizen, a retired nurse worried about her neighbors. I can ask questions without making him defensive. That's too dangerous. Chief, he won't confess to police. He'll lawyer up. But if I approach him as a worried former nurse, he might slip up. Harper and Martinez exchanged glances. She's right, Martinez said reluctantly. Dr. Stevens is smart. He won't talk to us. But he might talk to Leah. Fine, Harper said. But you're wearing a wire, and we'll be right outside. 30 minutes later, Leah walked into Dr. Stevens' medical practice on Oak Street. The waiting room was empty after 5, past regular hours. The receptionist looked up. I'm sorry, we're closed. I know, but I really need to speak with Dr. Stevens. It's Leah Morrison. I'm a retired nurse with urgent questions about some patients' medications. The receptionist picked up the phone. Dr. Stevens. There's a Leah Morrison here. She says it's urgent. Pause. Okay. She hung up. Down the hall, last door on the right. Leah's heart pounded. The wire taped to her chest felt obvious. Though Martinez had assured her it was invisible. Dr. Michael Stevens's office was warm and comfortable. Walls lined with medical books and family photos. He stood when she entered, a distinguished man. In his early 60s with graying hair and kind eyes. Leah Morrison, he said with a smile. Please, sit. What can I help you with? Leah sat. I'm sorry to bother you after hours, Dr. Stevens. I'm investigating concerns about medications from Riverside Pharmacy. Several patients have mentioned receiving pills that don't look right. Ah yes, I heard about that. Dr. Stevens sat back, perfectly relaxed. Terrible situation with Tommy Blake. Drug use is such a tragedy. Actually, Tommy wasn't using drugs, Leah said. He was trying to report medication irregularities. Is that so? Well, I'm sure Chief Harper will figure it out. But I don't see how I can help. I prescribe medications and the pharmacy dispenses them. If there's a problem, that's on Dr. Coleman. Of course, Leah said smoothly. It's just that I noticed a pattern. Many patients experiencing problems are your patients. I thought you might want to know. Something flickered in Dr. Stevens's eyes. A pattern? What kind of pattern? Well, I've been visiting elderly patients, checking their medications. Quite a few of your patients are taking pills that don't match their prescriptions. And several have passed away in recent months. Elderly patients pass away, Ms. Morrison. That's the nature of my practice. Of course. But 43 deaths in 6 months seems unusually high. Now Dr. Stevens's smile faded. I don't know where you're getting your numbers. But my patient outcomes are well within normal parameters. Are they? Leah leaned forward. Because I have the data, Dr. Stevens. 39 of those 43 deaths were your patients. That's 90%. I think you should leave, Dr. Stevens said standing. I also noticed you own 8% of Med Supply Corporation, Leah continued. The company that bought Riverside. The company that's been billing insurance for expensive medications. while substituting cheaper alternatives. That's quite profitable. Dr. Stevens' face went pale, then red. You're making serious accusations. Where's Maria Garcia? Leah asked. That stopped him. Who? The caregiver who was taking care of Agnes Miller. The woman who could testify that she gave Agnes the exact medications you prescribed. Which means someone switched them after they left the pharmacy. The woman who was kidnapped this afternoon after Agnes was murdered. Where is she, Dr. Stevens? I have no idea what you're talking about. But his hand trembled as he reached for his phone. I'm calling my lawyer. Go ahead. But while you're protecting yourself. Maria Garcia is being held somewhere by your partners. She's going to die because she witnessed your crimes. I haven't committed any crimes. I've been a doctor in this town for 30 years. And killed 17 people in the past 6 months, Leah said quietly. For money. Get out. He pointed to the door, hand shaking. Get out now. The police are already here. Chief Harper said, stepping into the doorway with Martinez. Dr. Michael Stevens, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit fraud. And 17 counts of negligent homicide. Dr. Stevens collapsed into his chair, face in his hands. I didn't mean for anyone to die, he said. It was just supposed to be generic substitutions. Save money. Coleman said no one would notice. Dr. Coleman switched the medications? Harper asked. Yes. He had the system set up. I prescribed expensive drugs, he billed insurance, then substituted generics. We split the profits. And when patients started dying, Dr. Stevens looked up, tears streaming. I wanted to stop. But Coleman said if we stopped, the authorities would investigate. He said we had to keep going. Where is Dr. Coleman? Harper demanded. I don't know. He called yesterday, said things were getting too hot, that he was disappearing. He told me to stay calm and act normal. What about Maria Garcia? Leah asked. Where is she? I don't know. I swear. Coleman handles that side of things. I just prescribe the medications. That's all I do. Harper exchanged glances with Martinez. Take him in. Get a warrant for his phone records. If Coleman contacted him, we'll find out where. As officers led Dr. Stevens away, Leah felt a mix of satisfaction and frustration. They had one of the conspirators, but Dr. Coleman was still out there. And Maria Garcia's life hung in the balance. Back at the police station, they worked through the night. Dr. Stevens's phone records showed multiple calls to Dr. Coleman, but all to burner phones that couldn't be traced. Then, at 2 a.m., a break came. One of the pharmacy technicians, Kevin Taylor, asked to speak with detectives. He'd been sitting in the station for hours, watching officers come and go. And his conscience had finally broken. I knew something was wrong, Kevin said, his voice shaking. I knew, but I was scared. Dr. Coleman said if I told anyone, I'd be implicated too. That I'd go to prison as an accessory. What did you know? Martinez asked. About the medication switches. I saw him doing it. He'd take the expensive medications that came in from suppliers and replace them with cheap alternatives. He had that back room full of sorted pills. He'd spend hours in there, switching pills in blister packs. Did you know patients were dying? Leah asked. Kevin's eyes filled with tears. Not at first. When I started to suspect, I confronted him. He said the patients were old, that they were going to die anyway. That we were just helping their families save money on expensive drugs. But you knew that wasn't true, Harper said. I knew. God help me, I knew. But I have a family. I have bills. He was paying me an extra $1,000 a month to keep quiet. I'm so sorry. Where is Dr. Coleman? Harper demanded. Where would he take Maria Garcia? I don't know where he is now, but I know where he's been hiding things. He has a storage unit. That's where he keeps the bulk supplies of pills. The extra ledgers, everything. Where? Salem Self-Storage. Unit 217. He made me help him move stuff there last month. Harper was already on his radio. All units, we need a team at Salem Self-Storage immediately. Unit 217. Suspect may be on premises. Possible hostage situation. They raced to Salem in a convoy of police vehicles. Arriving at the storage facility at 3 a.m. The facility was surrounded by chain-link fence with a single gate. The night manager let them in. Unit 217 was in the back corner of the facility. As they approached, they could see a padlock on the door had been cut recently. The door was slightly ajar. Harper signaled for everyone to take positions. Then he called out, "Dr. Coleman. Pinehaven Police. We have the facility surrounded. Come out with your hands up." For a long moment, nothing happened. Then a voice came from inside the unit. "I have Maria Garcia. If you come in, I'll kill her." Leah's heart sank. Dr. Coleman was inside, and he had Maria. "Dr. Coleman, you can't escape," Harper called. "Let Maria go and come out peacefully. Don't make this worse." "Worse? How can it get worse? You've already destroyed everything. My business, my reputation, my life. You destroyed it yourself. When you started killing patients for profit," Harper said. "But you can still do the right thing. Let Maria go." "Why should I? So I can spend the rest of my life in prison?" Leah made a decision. She stepped forward before anyone could stop her. "Dr. Coleman," she called out. "This is Leah Morrison. I'm not police. I'm just a retired nurse. Can I talk to you?" "Leah, get back," Harper hissed. But Dr. Coleman responded, "Ms. Morrison? The one who's been investigating?" "Yes. It's just me. I'm unarmed. I just want to understand." "Understand what?" "How a respected pharmacist became a criminal." "Yes. How it happened. Because I know you weren't always like this. You had a good reputation. You helped people for years." There was a pause. Then Dr. Coleman spoke again. His voice weary. "Come to the door. Just you. No weapons." Leah approached slowly. The storage unit door opened wider, and she could see inside. Boxes of medications lined the walls. In the center, Maria Garcia sat in a chair. Hands bound, eyes wide with fear but unharmed. Dr. Coleman stood beside her, a gun in his hand, but pointed at the ground. He was in his late 50s, disheveled, eyes red from lack of sleep. He looked nothing like the respected pharmacist everyone knew. "It started small," he said. "Just switching brand names for generics to save costs. The insurance companies were making billions, while we struggled to keep a small-town pharmacy afloat. I told myself I was just leveling the playing field. But then it grew," Leah said gently. "Yes. The profits were good. Med Supply Corporation noticed. They bought the pharmacy and wanted me to expand the operation. They said we could make millions if we just increased the volume. And I did. God help me, I did." "When did you realize patients were dying?" Dr. Coleman's face crumpled. "About 2 months in. Mrs. Brennan. She'd been taking cholesterol medication for years. And I'd switched it to Xanax because they looked similar and I could bill the same. She died of a heart attack. I told myself it was just her time. But then Mr. Johnson died. And Mrs. Patterson. And I knew what I'd done." "Why didn't you stop?" "Because I was in too deep. The corporation had documentation of everything I'd done. They said if I stopped or reported it, they'd make sure I took the fall alone. Dr. Stevens would claim ignorance. Say I acted without his knowledge. I'd lose everything and go to prison." "So you kept going," Leah said. "I kept going. And the death toll kept rising. And every night I'd go home and look at myself in the mirror. And not recognize the man I'd become." He looked down at Maria. "I didn't want to take her. But she saw too much. She knew the medications she was giving were wrong. Because she's good at her job. She documented everything. If she testified, I'd have no defense." Dr. Coleman, Leah said softly. You can't undo what's been done. But you can stop more harm right now. Let Maria go. Turn yourself in. Help us prosecute the corporation that pressured you into this. And spend the rest of my life in prison? Maybe. Probably. But you'll do it knowing you finally did the right thing. That you saved one life instead of taking more. Dr. Coleman stood there for a long moment, gun in his hand. The weight of 17 deaths on his shoulders. Then he set the gun on the ground and stepped away from Maria. I'm done, he said quietly. I'm done running. Officers rushed in, securing the weapon and untying Maria. Paramedics checked her. She was over-dehydrated and terrified but physically unharmed. As they led Dr. Coleman away in handcuffs, he looked at Leah. I was a good pharmacist once, he said. I helped people. I saved lives. I know, Leah said. And that's what makes this so tragic. Epilogue. 3 months later, Leah stood in the Pinehaven Community Center, addressing a packed room of elderly residents and their families. The medication safety crisis at Riverside Pharmacy affected over 300 patients, she said. 17 died as a direct result. Dozens more suffered health complications. Today, I want to talk about how we prevent this from ever happening again. The prosecutions had moved quickly. Dr. Richard Coleman and Dr. Michael Stevens both pleaded guilty to multiple counts of fraud and negligent homicide. They were sentenced to 20 and 15 years respectively. Med Supply Corporation was under federal investigation, with evidence of similar schemes at pharmacies in 6 states. The corporation's executives were facing RICO charges. Tommy Blake had made a full recovery and was back, working though at a different pharmacy. He'd received a commendation from the police department for his bravery. Maria Garcia had returned to work at Comfort Home Services, which was thriving now that MedSupply's competing agency had been shut down. And Leah had found new purpose. She'd been appointed to a state task force on medication safety and elder care. Governor's office had asked her to develop protocols to prevent similar crimes. After the presentation, as residents came up to thank her, Leah felt something she hadn't felt in years. Not just purpose, but peace. She'd trusted her instincts. She'd asked the questions no one else was asking. She'd refused to be intimidated. And she'd saved lives. At 65, she was just getting started. Thank you so much for listening to Midnight Prescriptions. If you enjoyed this story, please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more thrilling audiobooks. Your support means the world. Until next time, stay safe and always trust your instincts.